Hello and welcome to Film Physicality. In this video, I'll just be doing some short reviews about the movies I watched in August of 2022. Let's get to it. Okay, so the first one I watched is The Mist. This one's directed by Frank Darabont, who also directed The Shawshank Redemption and The Green Mile, which are both drama films. So they're very different from this one because this one's a horror movie and it's based on a novel by Stephen King from the same name. On this one, a father and son get trapped in a grocery store while a deadly mist surrounds the town. There is some bad acting, but it's still very engaging, and I love how it portrays different people just dealing with the fear and the panic while also being trapped together. And I think it also has one of the most harsh and brutal endings you've probably ever seen. I give this film a 4 out of 5. The next movie that I watched is Nocturnal Animals. This one's directed by Tom Ford, who I think has only directed one other movie called The Single Man, which I have never seen. This one, though, is about an art gallery owner, which is played by Amy Adams. She receives the novel from her ex-husband. The movie then has us follow the story in the novel as she reads it. And then it just switches back and forth between the real world and the novel. The main character in the story is played by Jake Gyllenhaal, which does an awesome job as always. And it's sort of a revenge story, but done very differently and original. And it's a revenge story in the novel and in the real world itself. I give this one a 3 out of 5. In this month, I also watched The Guilty. This is a thriller directed by Antoine Fuqua. I hope I'm saying that right, but he directed Training Day, Southpaw, and some others, so he has some good films. This one also stars Jake Gyllenhaal, and on this one, if you like Jake Gyllenhaal, you definitely must watch this one, because basically you always see Jake Gyllenhaal on screen. That's all you see in the movie. He works answering 911 calls, and he gets passionate about one particular emergency, and you just follow the stories just by listening to his phone calls. So you don't see what is actually happening, you just hear it through the phone call that Jake Gyllenhaal's having. And this does work for a while, but then it eventually just kind of feels a bit uneventful, I guess. It is still a fun watch, and again, Jake Gyllenhaal's acting is amazing, so you should watch it just for that, especially if you're a Jake Gyllenhaal fan. I give this one a 2 out of 5. Another one that I watched is Rec 2. This one's directed by Jaime Balaguero. He also directed Sleep Tight, also known as Mientras Duermes, and this one was co-directed by Paco Plaza as well, who directed Veronica. And they both co-directed the first Rec as well. So it is a Spanish found footage horror film. The first Rec is probably my favorite found footage film. So on the first one, basically people inside an apartment building start turning into zombies, and so the building gets quarantined, which is actually the name of the remake of this film, the American remake called Quarantine. But anyways, then we follow a news reporter along with firefighters and some residents who are also trapped inside the building with the zombies. And then the second one, it continues right after the first one ends. And on this one, the building is still quarantined, and then we follow a rescue team and some other people who sneak inside the building. This one is not as good as the original, but it's still very good, and I love it. It's still got a great story and great jump scares that actually work. I give this one a 4 out of 5. This month, I also watched Prey. This one was directed by Dan Trachtenberg, which he directed 10 Cloverfield Lane, which is very good. It's my favorite out of the Cloverfield franchise. There was a lot of hype around this one. It's the prequel to the original Predator, the first one, which is from 1987. On this one, we follow a Comanche warrior who wants to prove herself and protect her tribe by hunting down an unknown danger that threatens them. But of course, we know what that unknown danger is. The movie is super predictable, but it's still a very fun watch. Pretty good action and some nice kills. I give this one a 3.5 out of 5. So another movie that I watched is Patriot Games. This one is from 1992. It's a thriller directed by Philip Noyce, which he has done movies like The Bone Collector and The Saint, which I know I've seen, I just don't remember it. It was a long time ago. The film stars Harrison Ford and Sean Bean, which are both great actors, of course. This is one of the movies based on the Jack Ryan novels by Tom Clancy. On this one, a retired CIA analyst, Jack Ryan, interferes with an IRA attack. Now, a person that suffered a loss from their interference is getting revenge on Jack Ryan. And then we just get to see an angry Harrison Ford just kicking ass. It is a very routine good guy versus bad guy 90s action flick, but it's still a pretty fun one at that. I give this one a 3.5 out of 5. The next one that I watched is Spree. This one is from 2020. It's still sealed because I saw this on Hulu before buying it and then I bought it. Just found a great deal on it. Anyways, it is a horror comedy directed by Eugene Kodyarenko. I hope I'm saying that right. I have not watched any of his other films. I don't know if anyone would have a recommendation, but in this one, he is an influencer that is just having a hard time being successful. And so he's working as a spree driver and he decides to murder his passengers and then filming it on live stream, hoping that this will finally make him go viral. It's pretty much like a found footage film or more like a live stream style. It is a very fun ride though. It stars Joe Carey and he does an amazing job. I wouldn't consider it much of a comedy. I mean, stuff that might be intended to be funny just come out as like scary or nerve-wracking, which isn't a bad thing, but I just don't get the comedy tag on the movie. But anyways, I give this one a 3.5 out of 5. So this month, I also watched Jupiter Ascending. This is from 2015, and it's directed by the Wachowskis, which directed The Matrix, which is probably one of my all-time favorite films. This one's a sci-fi action starring Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis. And I don't know, this one's about a fallen Lycan who now flies on hover skates because he lost his wings. Because of course Lycans have wings. I don't know. I wish that was the worst of it. It has terrible pacing. It's very dull and boring, including the action sequences are just pretty boring. And then they try to make a love story that feels very forced. I don't know. Overall, I didn't like it at all. I give this one a 1 out of 5. So the next one that I watched is Joy. This one's from 2015, and it's directed by David Russell. He also directed American Hustle and The Fighter, which are both great films. The movie has great acting from Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper. It is a heartfelt drama based on a true story about the person who invented a new type of mop. It sounds a bit stupid, but it's not really about the mop and more about her inventing this new idea and then just trying to get her dreams to come to life. I put this film off for so long and I didn't really expect much of it, but it really surpassed my expectations. We had a lot of fun. We were rooting for her the whole time, then getting angry when stuff went wrong. It's just a really fun, enjoyable film and a heartfelt film. I give this one a 4 out of 5. The next film that I watched is Men. This is a movie from this year, 2022. It's directed by Alex Garland, who also made Ex Machina and Annihilation, which are super, super great films. On this one, the main character retreats alone to an English house on the countryside where she starts getting stalked by someone and then some other weird stuff start happening and they just get weirder and weirder. I loved most of the movie, but I did not like the ending that much. Most of the movie is very intriguing. It keeps you interested and we like just the right amount of weird, but then during the ending it just went overboard with the weird. But I don't know, it was just too out there, but the whole movie as a whole I really enjoyed. I give this one a 3.5 out of 5. The next movie that I watched is Midnight Special. This one's from 2016. It's a sci-fi directed by Jeff Nichols, who also directed Shake, Shelter and Mud, both of which I have never seen. On this one, a father and son are on the run since people are after the child, and this is because he possesses some mysterious power. And I don't know, the whole movie is just a car chase getting the kid from point A to point B. And like the big reveal on the film is very underwhelming, and then the whole film drags for too long. And for a sci-fi, the plot is pretty straightforward and mostly predictable. It does have pretty good acting though, which I can give it that. I give this one a 2 out of 5. This month I also watched Prevenge. This is from 2016 and this one's the Shutter exclusive. It's directed by Alice Lowe, which she also co-wrote and stars in Sightseers. The director on this one is also the main actress. On this one, a pregnant widow goes on a killing spree because she hears her unborn son telling her to do so. In the film, the main actress was pregnant in real life, which I think was very impressive. And then she needed to be, of course, pregnant during the film, so it was shot in a very short time. I didn't really expect much going into it, but the movie just blew me away. It's super fun, it's thrilling, mysterious, it's gory and funny while still keeping a serious tone, which is not an easy thing to do. I give this film a 4 out of 5. Another movie that I watched this month is 12 Hour Shift. This one's from 2022 and it's directed by Bria Grant. I haven't seen anything other than she's done, but I know she has a new one coming out called Torn Hearts, or it came out recently. Anyways, this one's about a junkie nurse who delivers organs of dead patients to black market traders. But in this 12-hour shift that she's working, everything goes wrong, and it just makes for a lot of crazy situations. It does have a lot of unbelievable situations and not very believable actions from the characters. And it is pretty goofy and sometimes cheesy, but mostly not in a bad way. I think overall it's a pretty crazy fun ride. I give this one a 3.5 out of 5. Another film that I watched this month is Crimes in the Future. This is a body horror film directed by David Cronenberg, which of course he also directed The Fly and Videodrome. I'm not really that much into body horror, but this one was just so original. It's a bit difficult to tell a plot, and I went into it blindly, which I think was best. But it's about future and the evolution of human organs, and we can just leave it at that. The acting on it was great, especially Kristen Stewart, which I think was very underused. And yeah, like I said, I mostly love it by its originality. But if you do like body horror, then this one is probably for you as well. I give this one a 4 out of 5. The next film that I watched is Collateral, which is from 2004. It's an action thriller directed by Michael Mann, which also directed Hit and Manhunter, which are both great films. This one stars Jamie Foxx as a cab driver who picks up a man that's played by Tom Cruise, and he offers him a good amount of money just to drive him around. But then turns out that the character played by Tom Cruise is an assassin. I think this is the only time that Tom Cruise has played a villain, and he does a great job. And of course, Jamie Foxx also does a great job as always. It's impressive how he can be a shy, patsy, pushover kind of person on this one, but then he can also be like a badass in other movies, and it's very believable every time. This one is just a fun thriller with some suspenseful moments and some great acting as well, like I said. I give this one a 4 out of 5. And that's it for the films that I watched in August. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.